LALATE. From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check outdated 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks. And then we go to the recon. Done deal for $3.5 trillion. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. I'll go over what some of those checks are and exciting great news about this big money in that recon for you. And then we cut to the vote, the deal, the bills, the dates, everything that's happening today, everything you need to know across the board. Then we cut to the big money under fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up if you're a veteran and if you're on SSI and SSDI. And then we go to the tens of thousands of dollars of viewers continue to get. You can get it today. Not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, right today. The toast is toasted and the butter is butter. And I'm here, you're here, and I have a lot of exciting breaking news. It's starting right here, right now on this big, bold, beautiful early mornings broadcast, starting right here in Santa Monica, California. Beautiful week so far. I'm so excited for you to join me. Boy, it got cooler here. It got so much cooler here in Santa Monica. It's gorgeous today. It's supposed to be gorgeous all this week. And then this weekend is supposed to be horrible. So jump on the live chat. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. So much breaking news on a big day. A lot of breaking news in this recording. We're going to go over that fourth stimulus check, how much you're going to get, how many checks you're going to get, and why you're likely to get more checks now. Then we'll go over the recon. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. I'll go over some of those checks for you. There's checks for all walks of life. I'm very excited for you on all this great news. Then we cut to the voting. There's some voting going on today. Is this voting for you or is this voting for something else? I'll explain all the details and what you need to know. Then we cut to fifth stimulus. As the 10-year Treasury note is falling today, the 10-year Treasury note is falling. Does that mean our benefits are going to drop? I'll explain the details. It's coming up later in this video. And then we turn to the big money across the board that viewers can continue to get, like rent and utilities. Viewers getting upwards of $23,000. Like Nisi, I'm going to show you how you can get this money as well. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in the morning. Live in the morning, like right now, then taped in the afternoons, like afternoons and evenings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you to part of this channel. Subscribe right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Mornings Crypto at 9:30 a.m. live on air, and then noontime live at 11 a.m. this morning. But let's get into that monthly stimulus check. So here you go. The day started with the governor of New Jersey saying, if you don't clean up, I'm going to put the mask mandate back. And that is after LA County put the mask mandate back because pandemic plus 1 year, we're still in the pandemic. House bill, monthly stimulus checks, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal, July to December. Let's compare the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month. Senate, monthly unknown. But word on the streets is this: deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. The whole universe has changed in 3 weeks, folks. It's now clear the pandemic is far from over. 50 states, the number of Delta cases is ravaging out of control. Florida is a very big mess at the moment. And New Jersey saying they may revert to the mask mandate from the governor's level. That's the first state to really say that clearly. LA County has reverted with the mask mandate. So by all accounts, the pandemic is not over. And the House bill, pandemic plus 1 year, would likely pay pandemic plus 1 year, which is more than 12 checks, which is more than $13,000. Compare that to this. I think you have an opinion. Vote House of Senate. House of Senate. Jump on the live chat right now and vote House of Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Well, who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that. If you got a third, you're getting a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 less. Democrats want you to have a stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 less. Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check, double it. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check, quadruple it. Married couple, double it. Family of four, quadruple it. And then my beneficiaries, Democrats represent, you're getting a forced stimulus check, SSI, SSDI, veterans, and more. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The forced stimulus check would be the same amount to everyone across the board. Yes. And the forced stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. It's not a waivable check. If you watch my Sunday live broadcast from the beach, I was on the beach live streaming. And one viewer in the live chat said, "Hey, Ally, is that the check behind you on the beach? Wave at the check." So I did what the viewer said. I waved at the check, and the check didn't wave back. I said, "See, it doesn't wave back." And the viewer said, "It's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check, Ally." Don't you love when the viewers know my lines? The forced stimulus check would not come in the month of July. Excuse me, the forced stimulus check would come in the month of July. For the month of July, they can still get it then. And in the month of August, for the month of August. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the exciting details. Deal done. One massive big deal. That $3.5 trillion agreement has been done. The recon is now a finality for purposes of a price tag, $3.5 trillion. And the Democrats have agreed that they're passing it. Wow. I'll go over all those checks that you're getting, $3.5 trillion of them under the recon. I'm excited for you. And then we go over the voting process. The final 15 of the minutes of this video goes over the final 14 days that you should anticipate in this exciting stimulus battle. And then let's get a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. But is that benefit lift getting impacted by the falling 10-year Treasury note today on Wall Street? It falling again today? I'll explain all the details later in this video. But first, let's get some money. Boy, you have been doing it and killing it. Your achievements have been incredible. If you've gotten rent from this channel, post in the live chat. If you got utilities, Snap, internet, post it right now. What's going on? When I started recording these recently, I said, hey, under the third stimulus, I can get you $5,000 of rent, approximately 4 to 6 months of rent. Viewers are now getting $20,000 for rent, like viewers like Nisi. Other viewers are getting $10,000 to $12,000 routinely every day. When we talk about utilities, I said, hey, I can get you $300 for utilities. Viewers are now getting $3,000 for utilities daily. Then when you talk about Snap, I said, I have some viewers getting $5,000 to $6,000 for Snap. John and others are getting $10,000 to $12,000 for Snap. What's going on? This is what this channel does. We cash checks here. We don't track checks. In April of last year, this channel launched because people were not getting their EIDL loans or EIDL grants approved. There was no check to track. I got them checks to cash, though. $25 million of them in April of last year. But then in fall of last year, in December, second stimulus was not coming. So there was no second stimulus check to track. But I got viewers, $250,000 of checks to cash. Viewers like Tyrone got $15,000 for his rent during the holidays. Paid all his rent all the way to March. Family of four out of Boston. Right now, you're doing it again, but you're doing it bigger and bolder than ever before because you're getting enormous sums of money. If you haven't gotten this money, jump into a pen or paper in that hand right now because I'm going to show you how you can get those big sums of money right now. You're going to get your rent. You're going to look for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. Are you ready? You're going to be reaching out to different places. Each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Never take yourself out of the equation. Don't not apply because you think something's wrong. Always apply because every place has different eligibility. All right, you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Viewers tell me that the keywords is what's making the big difference for them. The keywords are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's time on Star Search. Yeah, they don't know that. They don't want to know that. And there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. If you got rent as well, post in the live chat right now. The next pot of the money is Snap. Wow. John got $10,000 to $12,000 for this. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got it. What is Snap? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. What does it pay? A lot. Upwards of $16,000 for a family of four in Hawaii right now. Wow. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits off 15% between now and December. So go get it. And you're killing it. We're killing it. If you got Snap, post in the live chat right now. We are only 10 minutes in this video and we're gotten big sums of money for rent and utilities. And Snap, $15,000, $16,000 for a family in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent. I got more money for you right now. It's money coming back from your estate. That money coming back from your state is due to overpayment of computer error of unemployment benefits. Federal government has ordered it paid. Where is it landing? Direct deposit. When? Reach out to your state and say, hey, state, where is that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? And finally, the last wonderful pot of money, the refund check of your unemployment benefits you paid IRS taxes for on that 2020 return. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it, but we have an update for the rest of you. IRS gave us an update. They say that each check is coming out, checks are coming out in different waves, a different wave every week for the rest of the summer. A new wave just went out. The average check is $1,265. Wow. So this is a waveable check. So if you see the IRS at the beach, no, don't do that. The direct deposit checks will wave to you on July 14th, starting on July 14th, and the paper checks will start to wave to you on July 16th, and there'll be another round next week. So how much, where, and when? If you have not posted your success stories in the live chat right now, post them. 3 things happen when you post your success stories. First, it inspires other people to get money, because when they start to see lots and lots of people posting these success stories, they realize, oh, maybe I should get this for myself as well. Number 2, it inspires people to get multiple sums of money. So if you got one item, let's say Snap, but you didn't get rent, and you see Art Sullivan who got 3 items, then you realize, wait a second, I should get multiple items. And then finally, it updates us all about the numbers, because suddenly you see these big numbers, $12,000 for rent, you realize, ooh, boy, it's a lot more than we thought. So post your success stories right now. Let's go over this unemployment benefits return. How much, where, and when? First, let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. It'll reveal stuff you never saw before. Like it'll reveal the tax return you filed, taxes you paid. 70% of the time it works. It'll reveal stuff you never wanted to see. It'll reveal stuff you don't want other people to see. It'll reveal, when Mitch appeared on Star Search, which song did he sing? And then it'll reveal, when Mitch appeared on Star Search, did he wear those bell bottoms? And finally, it'll reveal the tax refund check you're getting back from IRS. Wow, can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your 4th stimulus check update 2021, starting right now. Deal. It's done. The price tag on the reconciliation is a finality. $3.5 trillion. Congratulations. The recon is ostensibly passed for purposes of agreement on a recon and agreement on a price. All they have to vote on last is what's in the recon with the actual bill. The Democrats have agreed that there's going to be a $3.5 trillion recon and that they will be passing it. This is incredible, great news. How do we get to the spot? Well, originally we had this recon that was enormous that had roads and bridges in there, and it was not passable with the roads and bridges in there. So they took them out and shrunk the recon. And by shrinking the recon, it became passable. We have that confirmation from a conservative publication op-ed that said the following, confirmed my reporting, that the higher the price line was initially for the recon, the harder it was to pass. There you go. Confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put in the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch. Sorry to set you up. But yeah, Mitch doesn't worry that he was set up because he loves the infrastructure. Republicans love the infrastructure. They're getting it approved. They're getting it done. So there you go. When they shrunk that recon smaller, then the progressives were able to add some stuff back in and get a price tag. And that price tag, done. $3.5 trillion. They got what they want. Progressives got what they want. Bernie got what they want. Moderate Democrats got what they want. Representative Richie Torres had said, I need to have a larger recon. Richie got what he wanted. Larger recon, $3.5 trillion. Congratulations, Richie. Elon Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, says, we need a recon legislation that goes as far as we want. Congratulations, Elon, you got it, 3.5 trillion. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon was big enough. They got it. You got it, 3.5 trillion. I'm going to go over some of the checks you're getting, the incredible checks later in this video. The way they got this was by protecting the recon, and we were told over the last few weeks that Jalapa and Schatz were protecting it. In fact, the White House told them to protect it. They consider the progressive priorities in the recon their own priorities. Now, what is a recon? And what is it, and how you need to stay focused on the language of what these things are. Here's what you need to know on this morning's LA. Now, you understand the term recon, which is your money, and you understand the words bipartisan, which is not your money, that's roads and bridges. But here's the issue, is that broadcast media is using other words. So I want you to hear their words right now so you recognize which one is which if you hear stories about this. Recon is also called reconciliation, is also called the budget bill. If you see it, you'll recognize it by price tag, 3.5 trillion. You also recognize it by the people talking about it. That is like a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan is not your money. That is roads and bridges. That's also called infrastructure. You'll recognize it by its price tag, 1.5 trillion, and you'll recognize it by the people interviewed in the articles about it, like a Mitt Romney or a Kristen Sinema. So now let's go over what a recon is. There is a recon procedural bill. I'm not going to go over that because it's sort of boring. And a recon substantive. That's what I'm talking about right now. Who writes it? Well, first of all, recon is short for reconciliation. And this case is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. The authors are House subcommittee members. They write them with the conjunctive effort with the Senate subcommittee members, same party. As they write them in separation. So each subcommittee of the House is delegated different subject matters when writing bills under the Constitution. For example, House Ways and Means Committee is responsible in the House for writing about stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. That's what they do. When each of the subcommittees are done with their respective subject matters, they have a certain number of pages they're finished with. Let's say they wrote 10 pages each, and there's 10 subcommittees. They combine those pages, send them up to Nancy and Chuck. In the case of Chuck, he puts a big S over it, calls it the Senate bill, 100 pages. Bam. At that point, you see the reconciliation bill. One thing that the mainstream media and I agree upon is the following. We don't have the recon yet. And until we have the recon, we just don't have it. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album. She doesn't want to show you the songs or let you hear the songs in the album unless she releases the album. She doesn't want you to see it. It's an issue of sort of surprise. So we don't have the recon just yet, and that's all it is. Someone that may jump in the live chat or the comments and say something like, I haven't heard of this in the recon. Well, the reason why you haven't heard it is because we don't have the recon. It's sort of different, yeah. So there you go. How do we get to this wonderful spot? By Jalapal, who had written Schumer letter saying, Chuck called the vote. That letter from Jalapal was signed by 12 House Democrats who were among 100 plus, 100 plus? Yeah, 100 plus, who wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means subcommittee, yep, that one, wrote the president a letter saying we're putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful news. So we have to hold them to their promise. Remember, that's the subcommittee that's responsible for writing stimulus checks. They wrote your third, and they represent they're doing your fifth. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As the president has done it. Biden has done it and has gotten a major achievement into law. It's the global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. 4 weeks ago, the president went overseas internationally to have a ceremonial signature, but that was just a ceremonial signature. The official signature was in the White House just a few days ago. And what's that called? Let's try it again. It's called the Global Minimum Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. If it sounds confusing, it is. And that's why it's great news for the recon, because that confusing thing is not in there. Let's go over why this is such great news. Number one, it's easy to write the recon because that confusing thing is not in there. It's easy to call the vote on the recon because that confusing thing is not in there. It's easy to vote on the recon because that confusing thing is not in there. And it's easy to pass the recon because that confusing thing's not in there. Wow, can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 of 14 in this video. In the final 15 minutes of this video, we'll go over the critical final 14 days, potentially, of the stimulus battleground. I'll go over everything you need to know about what's happening today, what's happening tomorrow, and where we are. It's getting very exciting. And we also go over all the big items of money you're getting under forced stimulus, this $3.5 trillion. It's very exciting. Then we turn to fifth stimulus as we look at the 10-year Treasury note falling. Is that bad news or good news? I'll explain all the details. But first, something wonderful. The volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, internet, or SNAP, and you have had problems finding it, don't worry, reach out to them. Open the description of this video. Go down the description, you'll find the community page, news.la.com/community. When you go over there, you'll see some kitty cats lower on the page of the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and internet. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with a big final 15 in this 14 recording. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on Mornings LALATE, direct from Santa Monica, live right now. I'm excited for you across the board. Fourth stimulus is heating up, and in the final 15, we'll go over what's happening in these final 14 days. Very, very exciting. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as the 10-year Treasury note's falling. Does that impact our raise of our benefits? I'll explain all the details. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you a part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like helps, and consider becoming a member. Coming up later in this video, at the very end, a personal message for you as well. And here we go. Exciting details. Coming up next, of course, is Morning's Crypto. Stay with me. That's right at 9:30. And then noontime, live on air at 11 a.m. Fifth stimulus was what the president had promised you on the campaign trail, the raising up of your benefits. He didn't deliver it. So now congressional leaders are doing it for you. And that SSI reform is part of fifth stimulus. This would be in September, legislative writing, going to pen and paper, and then going to the actual vote about November-ish in your hands by November, and then the step up, the benchmark in December. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit at the inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over all this very, very exciting news for my beneficiaries starting right now. Who's this for? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, yes, so SSA or multiple beneficiaries. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time, a lifetime. And then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark would be inflation. Benchmarks are always applied at the end of the year for next year's benefits, but this one will likely be applied in December after it becomes law for next year's benefits. And inflation is going up, but how high is it going up? Well, Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill last week and said the same thing he said the week before, that it's going to be transitory. That's a fancy word for the word temporary, meaning it's going to go to a spike, a peak. In December, yes, right where they apply your benefits, and then it's going to come back down. Great news. How high is that rate going to go, that inflationary rate? Well, Wall Street last week and this week is saying my number about 5%. Great news. But the 10-year Treasury note is falling today. And it was falling yesterday dramatically into 1.12, 1.14. I mean, this was 3% just a few days ago. Is that going to impact this spike at the end of the year? No. Let me explain why. The 10-year Treasury note governs interest rates. That's a little bit different than cost of goods sold, which concerns inflationary rates. For example, interest rates, the 10-year Treasury note, is looking at how strong the U.S. economy is. So if we think the U.S. economy is starting to slow again because of Delta, the 10-year Treasury note will fall. We are slowing potentially in our growth spurt. That is not the same thing as how much costs of goods cost to you when you go buy them. So, for example, let's say you go to the market and eggs and milks are in the counter in front of you, and suddenly the U.S. economy is slowing in growth. Will the eggs and milk cost less? Not necessarily, not at all. They have their own indicator, and that indicator is inflation. How much are they going up? To gauge inflation, you're going to look at things like consumer price index, everything that governs what price of goods sold are. Bottom line, very easy breezy for you to know, is that if the economy slows because of the Delta variant, it does not mean the cost of goods are going to go get cheaper. They just work in their own universe. So there you go. First, they'll raise your benefits up under fifth stimulus. Then they'll apply a benchmark. If that benchmark is 5%, then you'll step up an additional 5%. Not just next year, a lifetime. Wow. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate the year after that is 2%, then you'll step up at 2% additional on top of 5. Yes. They're going to move the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you have some room to put a stimulus check and some tacos in the head. It's Taco Tuesday. And then they're going to move the asset cap, the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay in benefits. It's going to go away, and you'll be able to become and still be able to work. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits, and viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married. And there you go. Now, fifth stimulus, we'll have another stimulus check. Those House Ways and Means members represent, that'll be next year. And fifth stimulus has a lot of other exciting details. But for you to know what is in that fifth stimulus, what's in third stimulus, consider becoming a member. The link's under the video where it says join here. When second stimulus was passed, there was a $600 stimulus check. But I immediately said, but I'm going to get just $6,000, not $600. Well, I got viewers like Tyrone, family of 4 out of Boston, $15,000, not $6,000. When third stimulus passed and there was a $1,400 stimulus check, I said, I'll get you $14,000, not $1,400. And I've been getting viewers like Nisi, $23,000. So it's important to become a member because I deliver to you daily a breakdown of all the big money for you under third stimulus. It's a fortune. And we'll be doing that same thing when we look at fourth stimulus, $3.5 trillion of checks for you under fourth stimulus. And I'll be showing you where to get this money because as a purple hawk, you got to pounce first. So consider becoming a member. Which brings us exactly into the final 15 of this final 14 days of your fourth stimulus check battle starting right now. It's not guaranteed that there's only 14 days left, but it looks like by all counts they may get it done in the final 14 days. So let's go over those details in this final 15 minutes of this video. First, the recon, then the bipartisan, then back to the recon. Let's start with the recon. Deal. Done. Exciting details. First, the recon is done for purposes of agreement that they're going to pass it and for purposes of the price tag. The Senate Democrats have agreed they're passing the recon. All they have to do is vote on the actual bill. They have also agreed upon the price tag. This is huge procedurally for one big reason. Tim Kaine explains. When you agree upon the price tag, then you've essentially done all the work. All you have to do is just put the numbers into the items and you're done. You call for a vote. Very wonderful news. Number two, it's huge because of the price tag. It's $3.5 trillion of checks for you. The recon is just checks for you. That's all it is. Checks, and more checks for all different walks of life for you. Seniors, workers, adults, younger people. There's checks of all different types of money. And Bernie Sanders went into the meeting saying, hey, I want 7 trillion, but ultimately agreed to 3.5 trillion and came out celebratory. Why? He called it a historic day in the U.S. government. Why? Because he said he got everything he wanted. He's just going to do it over a shorter time frame. Well, obviously 3.5 is half the time of 7. So great news. All the Democrats got exactly what they wanted. Huge, wonderful achievement. Let's cut over now to, before we got over to bipartisan, let's go over what is that 3.5 trillion. So I have some, not all, but some of the other items that are in that recon. Now, remember, the Democrats represent they're putting stimulus checks in the recon, but what are the other items that are allegedly they're putting into that recon for you of those $3.5 trillion checks? Here you go. There reportedly is also free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, farming checks, money for election checks, internet checks. They're going to be giving you free internet across the country. Cities will be given fortunes from the federal government to launch their own free internet companies, so you have free internet everywhere. Next, clean energy checks, and then lots of checks for my seniors and my workers. There'll be checks for independent contractors, checks for unionized workers, checks for collective bargaining, and then checks for Medicare expansion for seniors, checks for other seniors and eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing. Wow, and that's just some of them. Let's get over to the bipartisan. The bipartisan deal. So those bipartisan individuals said that they would meet by Thursday and get all the provisions of the roads and bridges, bipartisan infrastructure done. And by all accounts, they're really almost done. They say when they're done, that it's very easy to put it into bill format, and then they're ready to go. Who says? It's Mitt Romney. This is a guy who's moved very fast over time. He generally has the fastest turnaround time I've seen of any elected official. He just moves very quickly. This is great news for him to be saying it. What else did he also say? He said that he thinks the vote on the bipartisan bill will be this week. This week? Well, do I think that's going to be happening? No, I don't think so. Mainstream media and myself think that it's a little bit too optimistic that it's likely to happen next week. But wait a second, that's great news for us. You know why? Because the recon goes for a vote first. Remember, the recon has to go for a vote before the bipartisan. And if the bipartisan vote is next week, then guess when the recon could go for a vote? Either next week or as early as this week. Yes, exciting details. Now, how many voting steps do they have? 12. Does not take 12 days. Here is the 12 steps. We have 3 bills, 4 rounds at 4 steps for each of the 3 bills. Recon procedural, recon substantive, and bipartisan. Step 1, Senate subcommittee, then Senate floor, then House, then President. All right, so what is going on today? What's going on today is a vote. And I'm going to go slowly over what that vote is so you understand it. Let's go very, very slowly over what that vote is today. Chuck Schumer today will be calling a vote to end discussions and negotiations on the bipartisan in the next few days. Let's say that again. He's going to call a vote to end discussion, to end chatter about the bipartisan in the next few days. It's not a call on the vote. It is not a call to vote on the bill, the bipartisan. It's just a call to end the discussion of the bipartisan, the negotiations. It's not a call to end it today. It's a call to end it in the next few days. Pretty easy. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Okay. Is it going to pass? No, it's not going to pass. It's not going to pass. It needs bipartisan support. It's not going to pass because people are going to say, hey, I need more time to work. But we all love it because it's working. It's to put fire underneath their feet to get it done. And they were working all weekend long. So it's working. Great news. Now, in April of last year, this channel launched because people's EIDL loans are not getting approved. And so I made videos that were very detailed about move this, change that number, move this, change that, change this, and was fixing things that were locked in vortexes and locked up. If there's one thing you know as a viewer better than anyone else is information. You have been absolutely wonderful in taking information and learning from the information. But along the way, I fully expect 150% today, there'll be people jumping in the chats or jumping in the comments who absolutely do not want to take the time to be informed about anything. And will post comments as though they know more than the rest of us. And what I encourage you to do is to push back and say, no, you're misinformed. This is what's happening. I already explained to you that today they will be calling a vote to end discussion on the infrastructure in the next few days. But what do I expect comments to see today? I expect someone to say, I heard Chuck call a vote on the infrastructure bill and it didn't pass. No, he didn't call a vote on the bill. There was no vote on the bill today. It was to end discussion. Oh, okay. And then they'll do the wrong bill. I heard Chuck call a vote today on the recon bill. No, he didn't. He didn't call a vote on any recon today. Oh. I heard Chuck call a vote on something today, and it didn't pass, and so you're not getting a stimulus check. No, he didn't call a vote on anything about stimulus check today, and he didn't call a vote on anything about a bill. So you're just very uninformed. So it's important for you to keep them informed. Next, in these potential final 14 days, things get moving very quickly. And here is what you need to know. Things change very quickly in the final 14 days, and you have to push. Purple Power Push is about pushing. Here's an example of Purple Power Push and versus Donut Guy. Purple Power Push would say this: hey, bipartisan group, write that bill and get it ready to vote. You're taking too much time. Donut Guy would say, when are you writing the bill? When and when and when and when and when? Just Donut Guy asks a lot of when questions. Yeah, that's all he does. So Purple Power Push is about pushing, because you got to push elected officials because sometimes they do move slow. Now, in December 2020, it was much like this. We had waited all summer long. Nancy Pelosi had debuted the HEROES Act in May of 2020 or April 2020, and it just never went anywhere. And we waited and we waited and waited. So finally I said, hey, you got to do this continuing resolution in a few weeks. And we only got about 14 days left. How about you would put a stimulus check in there? Well, I came up with the idea, you push, CR for stimulus. It trended nationally, and then they heard it. Legislators said, I like the idea. And we woke up one morning and they said, there's stimulus in there. We said, yes. And then we looked and we're like, oh, it's the wrong stimulus. They put unemployment stimulus in there. You're supposed to stimulus check. A few more days we had to push again because they had the wrong one in there. This is why you got to push. And we pushed again, and suddenly the stimulus check appeared in there. But over the next 2 days, the check went up in price, down in price, out in eligibility, lower in eligibility, out in, and finally it was there and we could relax until Pat Toomey came around. Senator Toomey said, oh, you know what? That whole CR is all messed up. I'm going to blow it up all up and you're not going to have anything. Oh, and then finally Mitt Romney came in and settled him down and we were done. It's important to understand that these final few days, the push is critical because things change. When you finally see the reconciliation bill, things may be wrong, things may be right, things may need to get modified. It's likely it's going to start on the Senate, then to the House, and then back to the Senate. I am not 100% certain, but I think it has to go back to the Senate for what's called the vote-a-rama at the very end. So there's literally 3 places where it can get modified if you think it needs to get modified. As WR did, one of the viewers of this channel, he called up his Senator, Senator Chris Coons, and said, why do we need a stimulus check? It's important for you to do the same. Finally, a personal message. It's very important to understand that along the way, we're a family. And that ultimately, as a family, sometimes people jump in the comments that simply do not belong, not only on this channel, but not on the platform. This morning on Early Mornings LA, someone jumped in the comments and started attacking viewers, calling them really horrible names. What should you do when that happens? There are different types of activities that you sometimes see in the comments, but if a viewer is in the comments attacking viewers and saying just horrible comments about you that you believe is harassing and bullying, what you should do is do the following. Go next to that viewer's comment and click a button and click at the end of their line, and it'll pop up a screen. The first word will be report. If you believe you're a victim of bullying or harassment by that person, report that individual. It'll then pop down a series of choices. If you believe it's harassment and bullying, then report that individual. If enough people are the victims of harassment and they report that person will not just be blocked from the channel, that person will be banned from the platform. So ultimately, there's different types of narratives across the board, and there's different type of people that bring in certain tones into a chat. But someone that attacks people does not belong. And so make sure you always report the person. Don't just sit back and say, hey, he's bothering me. Report the person. Because guess what? You're also improving other channels as well so that that person doesn't go to other channels and bother them as well. And with that, I'm excited to see you next on Mornings Crypto. Oh boy, it's going to be a big show. And then at noontime, LALATE, live at 11 a.m. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video. Every like helps. 1, 2, 3,000 likes. It also delivers a side of parsley. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Calcino VIP, so you learn all the beautiful money that is available in Fistimos, so you can get delivered to you as well. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, and I'll see you in just a few minutes from now as Mornings Crypto starts.